Okay, I got to get all this stuff figured out here. Okay, so I'm going to stand over to the side here a little bit so you guys can see better. But yeah, I'm excited to be here tonight, and I think I know basically everybody here at church, and it's good to see familiar faces. And yeah, Leon called me a couple months ago, I think, and we talked about it a little bit. I thought, oh, great, I would love to show a couple things about our ministry. I'm not a good public speaker by any means, so forgive me if this if a presentation doesn't come off too great or anything. Amanda and I have just recently become directors here. We were assistant directors, like Leon had said. We were assistant directors for 2 years, and then we'll be head directors for 2 years. Brad Mast, Lloyd and Bev's Brad Mast, he is the assistant director right now. He just got voted in, so it's us three kind of heading up the club right now. And we're very excited. We're very excited about this next year and what all it's going to entail. And last year was pretty bad. Actually, the end of the COVID year, that March, we kind of basically shut the club down and reopened again in the fall, but it was a lot of masks and just kind of annoying things. We had to take pictures of classes, and so we knew everybody sat, and contact tracing and stuff. It just wasn't very fun, and we finally got rid of everything and basically said we're not going to do any masks, and so it's kind of just made a whole difference of the attitude up at club, and the kids haven't minded at all. And anyway, we're just very excited to have a fresh new start this year. Yeah, so with that, I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of history. Who here thinks they're fairly familiar with the history of how Cornerstone started? Do you guys know the story at all? I thought maybe that's a little bit, Tony. So, I thought that I'd go run through a little bit. I have some notes here. We kind of run through this when new staff are added and stuff. We kind of give a little bit of a history, but I just thought I'd kind of run through some things. So basically, way back, 1999, there was I'm gonna read through this here first. Here we have two things here. Sorry. Our mission statement is, our mission is to work together as a team to promote and plant and water the gospel in the lives of children and families in Elkhart, Indiana. We will allow the Holy Spirit to produce His fruit in us to create a fun, loving, and secure experience that will impact their lives for eternity. And our purpose is, the purpose of Cornerstone Ministries is to love the children of Elkhart as Jesus does. Many of them come to club because it is a place where they receive attention and love. Some come dirty, cold, and hungry. They may be experiencing trauma at home, an alcoholic parent, angry siblings, and a struggle for survival. What we see and experience from them may be fueled by pain they experienced before they walked in our door, and is also affected by their particular culture. We have hope to offer, not because we are any better, but because we know Jesus. And that's really what we strive to do, and we don't always live up to those expectations, but that is our goal up at Club. So we're called Cornerstone Ministries. Right now, there's a Cornerstone Chapel up there as well, and we kind of differentiated the church up there between Cornerstone Chapel and Cornerstone Ministries, but we just refer it to as Boys and Girls Club or Club, just generically. So history here. So way back in 1999, there was a couple people that were interested in ministering in Elkhart. Don't really know why they picked Elkhart, but there was a specific spot called The Hole in Elkhart here, and you can see it there, the little red spot there. If you guys are familiar with Elkhart General Hospital is there, it's kind of close to there. It's specifically called The Hole, and we used to call Club The Hole for a long time. And if you go up there, if you've ever been to the old building up there, it actually is a hole. When you're driving on Lexington right here, you drive down in there and it's a dip down. You probably go down 15 feet or so, and it goes down to the river over here. But it's called the hole because it's lower elevation actually, but it's also very, very ghetto. I mean, it's probably the slummiest part of Elkhart. And so when we had way back, there was two girls. I believe it was Regina Miller, Angie Berkshire, and Collier Berkshire that were involved in starting it. But they basically started by going up to Club, to that area, to that park right there. That park, that Fifth and Brady playground. They used to go up there and just play with kids and walk around, prayer walk, and just just hang out. And then they eventually got to know a couple people. When they talked to a couple police officers when they were up there, and the cops told them, you definitely should stay out of this area. I mean, put a ministry over here somewhere maybe, or over here. This is just kind of a bad area. There's a lot of crime, a lot of bad stuff going on. There's actually, we actually have been involved in, received death threats from people that have, Tony Berkshire actually has received death threats from people that live right across from this old club building because he went to prison for a long time, for 30, 40 years, because he was selling drugs so close to a children's ministry, and he blamed it all on that, and it's actually still ongoing. He just received those death threats maybe the last year, but it's just a pretty rough place. It really is. And so they continued this ministry by just going up and just sitting in people's houses and talking to people, and after a little bit they said, you know what? Let's do a VBS. Let's do a 5-day VBS, and it went pretty good. And I don't think they even had a building at that time. I don't know exactly the details of what they did, but it was pretty rough, and just whoever comes and plays at the park and that kind of thing. Well, it ended up that eventually, and this is just a street view shot from now, so this sign's still on the building, but we purchased this building for a very cheap price in, I believe, let's see here, I think it was 2004. Yeah, it's 2004 that we purchased this building here, and it's pretty lacking in the quality wise, but it was awesome and as far as heart and soul. And it's just an incredibly small space in there, but we'd often have 100 kids there and 30 staff, and so it was a very packed, full building. There's a little basketball court out in the backside here. Got a couple pictures from those times there. You can see that the outside view there, and yeah, these pictures are probably from 2005, 2006, somewhere in that range. So we had club there for a long time. It went really good. It actually was crazy how little issues we actually had with the crime and just the different attitudes. People loved having us there. It was not a thing where people were, nervous to go up there. I don't think people ever felt scared, like going up there. The power of God was there for sure. And anyway, so ended up befriending a lot of people right close to that spot. So one thing we found out right away, all the kids were walking the club, but found out right away that these kids are moving about every 3 months. If they're lucky, they're staying there for a year, but they're moving a lot, but they still wanted to come to club. And that was when we had purchased a bus to bus these kids that had been coming to club, and then would move a mile away and still wanted to come, but it was too far from the walk. And so we'd start busing the same children that still were wanting to attend. And we would probably pretty consistently have between 80 to 90 children there every Tuesday night, actually. It was on Tuesdays for a long time, and then we switched to Wednesdays in the early 2010s, I think. Anyway, so a couple other pictures here. There's the whole auditorium. You can see it. There's pews here, and there's some pews over on this side a little bit too. That's the whole thing. But we used to fit 100 kids in there. So pretty tight quarters for sure. Okay, and then so after a long time, we actually really the space was becoming, the building was falling apart. There was one really big issue was parking. If there was 30, 40 staff coming up, there was maybe 5 spots to park. And so we'd carpool, do the best we could, but there was no place to park. There was no outdoor space besides a little basketball court. And so we thought, it was kind of on the back burner of the board, but this property came up for sale for a really good price. And I just kind of drew a Google Maps. There's about a mile as the crow flies there. But that's where club was, and then this building came up for purchase in 2014. So obviously moving a mile, a lot of the kids that came were still right there, so buses became even more of a thing later on. But so this building came up, and it was almost just, it was a miracle. It was a very, very, very large dentist office and very outdated. but it had I would guess, I'm not sure exact square footage, but I want to say maybe 14,000 square foot total in the basement and the upstairs, and had lots of outdated offices, and just like somebody had left it in the 80s and not touched it since then, but it was still up and running. We got in there, we bought the place for, I think, $130,000, and we got special grants from City of Elkhart that paid for a lot of it. It was just a total blessing. It was incredible to have a facility that nice, and it came, I think, with about 2 acres of land, too, in town, which is just incredible. So, and a nice paid parking lot. And I'll flash you a couple of these pictures here. There's some people working on construction. There's the area that we currently own right now. There's a community garden there that we don't actually operate, but there's some neighbors that kind of head that up, and they like planting stuff year round and figuring that all out. And there's the building that's got the new roof and stuff on. I'll show you in a little bit here, but. So it was a big change in 2014 to come over to this here. It was cool to have a nice new building, but we didn't want to miss the spirit that the old building had. It felt like there was so much closeness there, and so that was kind of a transition time. And we actually had a dedication service where all Sandy Ridge came up and had our normal church service on Sunday morning at the club building here, and you can see kind of how the auditorium looks there, and it was just great to have so many classes and have room for people, and everybody was very into it. We were excited about having more kids there, way more. We were constantly turning kids down because the building was too full. So it was really nice to have everybody there. And this is just really recent here. We did a big rendition to the church building here and put new trusses on. Kendrick is very involved with this here. This is 2 years ago, and it did a great job, and we really have an incredible building now. Here's how the new auditorium looks, that same spot that we just took a picture of. This is how it looks now. Got some scissor trusses there that really opened that up and made it feel like a church house. And we've just been incredibly blessed, and people have just poured in money and time, and it's just been amazing. So we just feel incredibly blessed. I want to give you guys a little bit of history of our buildings and stuff. That's kind of how it looks from the outside there. So I have a couple other pictures there, but before I go on, so I wanted to run you guys through, that's kind of how it all transferred down through the years of where our building's actually at right now. But it's just been incredible. It's been totally incredible what God's been doing up there. We weren't, it can get kind of discouraging sometimes. You don't really know if you're making progress with kids, but it just seems like God is bringing the children there to club to save their souls. I mean, it's nothing that the staff there are doing, but it's incredible. There's something moving there, something working there, and I know that Kendrick and Tara and staff can attest to this here. There's something moving there, and it's amazing. We're so excited. One of the biggest things that we struggle with, honestly, is so we're really good at running a club. We're good at it's some people compared it to maybe running a factory or something like that. We're Elkhart County boys here, so we're running this efficient, well-oiled machine. But really, what we want this club building to be is an avenue to get into the families and the kids and the lives in Elkhart, where we can become their friends, and we can walk with them and disciple them. And because getting kids there every Wednesday night to teach them about God is awesome, but them committing their life to Christ is even more amazing, right? It's perfect. It's what we are trying to achieve through God's power. But it seems like the hardest point is after that. We're trying to disciple these children, get them to walk with God every day, and some of them are making big efforts towards that and have joined our church, Sandy Ridge. A couple of them have joined our church. If you guys remember Nadia, there's Brian, Ryan's son, and Lily. There's a couple of people who have joined Sandy Ridge over the years, but we really thought that Cornerstone Chapel, which started now with Lloyd and Bev heading that up, we really wanted to give the kids that are coming to club and their parents a place to come to church. And we just felt like we were doing a great job of running this club, but there was no place to further that. We're teaching them a 15-minute lesson about creation or about Samson, but then we're not giving any place for their children or for their parents to come to church to learn other stuff and that kind of thing. So if it would be one area that we'd like prayer in, it'd be definitely that, where we want to know how to further these relationships. We're doing a lot of stuff that I'll touch on later, but I wanted to run through an average night. So an average night of club is starts at 5:30 to 5:45 in that range, and we have all the kids come in and we take them to assembly. So there's 2 assemblies, and the older kids go to assembly first, and then the younger kids have assembly at the end. But then we split out into classes. After an assembly includes singing, and one of the directors will get up there and talk and kind of run through, give a little bit of a Bible lesson. We do Bible memory, that kind of thing, and then they go into their classes. So there's the large portion of club is when everybody's in their class, and the classes consist of probably around 8 kids, 8 to 10, sometimes up to 12 children, and we basically have a format of teaching a Bible story and doing a craft, and then having maybe a little bit of a snack if you want to, and but the main focus of it being teaching them a story from the Bible, and it's worked really well. We found out that a lot of the different ages require different, it seems like the older the kids got, the harder they are to entertain or to keep their attention. So a lot of the older classes are actually doing specialty things where the women are doing some cooking classes. So there's a couple women heading that up, where there's 5, 6, 13-year-old girls there that want to learn how to cook, and all they do every night is they cook stuff. They learn a 15-minute Bible lesson, then they work in the kitchen. We have a nice air put in an awesome kitchen down there in our basement, and they make stuff, and then they divvy it out to some of the teachers or the other classes. They just make stuff for fun and to learn how to bake things, and it really feels like that's been a good thing to connect with the different older girls, because the older the girls get, it just feels like it's harder to really have a connection. And then the boys, there's a woodworking class, and there's a couple gentlemen involved with that, Kendrick Weldon and Brian Bontrager. They're involved with that, and that's been really great too, in teaching kids how to sand something or build small wood trinkets and that kind of stuff, and it's been great. Here they are just having a normal fun night kind of outside, the hay bales, and that wasn't, I put an average night at club up here, but this was kind of probably a little special overnight, and they're outside hanging out, little campfire, just a couple other pictures here. You can see they're making different silly putty stuff, and it's really, it feels like there's just some assembly here. The kids, especially the kids that are about 10 years old and younger, just absolutely love singing, and they love singing and singing with guitar. And so we don't really have any other instruments usually besides a guitar, but it's just up there doing motions and different things. It's incredible how much the kids get into it, and they sing. And sometimes we just don't even play guitar at all and just have them sing a cappella, and they're just incredible. They get talented people, awesome voices, and they sing their hearts out. Not all of them, but most of them are. And then it seems like the older they get, it's not quite as cool to sing anymore, and they slack off a little bit. But assembly time is really, really good time to worship God, and they really get into it. There's just some people doing crafts. There's some stuff that they're cooking in a cooking class. You can see it in the kitchen there. A lot of basketball. So for the older guys, you can do a small lesson and that kind of thing. And they're not that into crafts, but we'll do some crafts things. But playing basketball is always a hit. So it's pretty cool how close you can get to some of the guys just by playing basketball with them and talking about them, talking about life and different things. But that's often a great way to connect. So I have here listened to a couple things of what the impact of of souls in Elkhart has been. And in 2021, praise God, we had 7 kids that were about ages from about 11 to 14 that gave their life to Christ. And it's just it was amazing. It was basically all in one night where we invited an outside speaker in to talk about stuff. And if not sure how many are familiar with Teen Challenge, but Teen Challenge came in and did a presentation, and 7 kids gave their life to Christ, and it was incredible. And one of the really cool things that we've noticed here too is that it's been going long enough that it's the second generation of children coming, and there's several kids right now that come to club that their parents used to come to club, and their parents just the highest regards for club, and they're like not forcing their children to come, but you have to go, you'll want to go. We do a good boys, good girls camp out every year, and this year one of the kids that came, he said his dad told him, said, when I was 15 and I was coming to the good boy camp out, we got to, it was actually at Andy's pond back there, and he said it was the most insane weekend ever. We were riding four-wheeler all over. We flipped the four-wheeler, and it was scary, crazy, and everything. But it was just a time of life you don't want to miss out on this camp out. The camp out was the best, And then he's telling his kid that he needs to go to this other camp out. And I thought it was pretty cool that we can be involved with families like that. And there's so many lifelong relationships also that we've cultivated, and there's just been. Especially with the people that are up at Cornerstone Chapel right now, with Sarah, Valinda, who just moved to Oregon as well, but with Brad Mast and Lloyd and Bev and Jeff and Louisa, they're just doing such a great job up there of connecting with people and becoming really good friends with these families, and some families that their kids don't even come to club. But we're just having. It's just been an incredible. Time trying to really disciple these children, and I think Cornerstone Chapel is just doing an awesome job. And it's great to tell kids, hey, if you liked what you learned here, just come to church on Sunday. We're gonna have Sunday school class, and you're gonna learn more, and it's gonna be awesome, And we just have a lot of motivated people up there. So I had put down here a couple years ago. We made a move. So Corbin Burkholder, Dwayne Burkholder's Corbin, he was director before us here, and so he's just moving out, and he was the first director that was not part of Sandy Ridge. So it was kind of a big move to now transition away from Cornerstone Ministries just being its own entity. And it was great. I mean, I think we pulled a lot more people in. Right now, there's about 50 staff, and I think there's maybe 10 to 15 people from Sandy Ridge, and the rest from other churches. And so, I mean, it's also, we want people to come from Sandy Ridge as well, but it's definitely its own thing. And it's been great, and Clay Street's also represented here as well. But there's actually, I probably missed about 4 or 5 churches. I couldn't think of the other churches that some of the people went to. But we really have a good, at one point we counted there was around 10 churches that were involved there. And we praise God for that, and it's really been a blessing getting all these different ministries, or all these different churches involved. So I had a couple of our current needs, and so I think that what Leon said in his devotional was great. Right now it seems like the biggest needs that we have up there are not money. I mean, we have money. We have enough money we added on to our building and did a bunch of different stuff, and that's not the issue. It feels like people are the issue. We need more staff, and we need more committed people, and it's just, I think in our area especially, it can be pretty easy to find money, find funding for stuff, but to get people to give their time, to be generous with their time, is really, really difficult. And so that's one of our biggest struggles. So last year, we have about 50 staff. And last year, we had about 20 staff out of the 50 decide to take a year break or to stop coming. And we filled all those spots. And then this year, we had about the same amount of people not come back. And lots of those were just people that thought they'd tried out for a year and weren't really sure about being committed to it and stuff. And we have a lot more staff that joined, even since this, actually. We're almost covered now. But there's definitely some needs as well, some bus drivers and different things. But I mean, I think that the biggest thing I want to leave with you guys is that God is working up in Elkhart. It's incredible. I feel like, and I was making this case with the staff up there, that it feels like God is handing us this kind of silver platter of, hey, do you want to walk along with this person? Do you want to help this person along with life, and to show them God's way, show them a better way than the situation they're in? And it feels like it's just our choice of being committed to God and being. He doesn't take anything special and fancy. We were at a conference this year with Rick Rhodes talking, and he had said, God doesn't need our he doesn't need our help to get something done. He just needs our commitment. He just needs us to be committed, and it was very powerful that we're discipling this one guy, a 12-year-old guy. I don't know what the right things are going to be to say. Neither does somebody else that's helping out with it. We don't know what situation they're in. We can't compare it to our own lives. Our lives are vastly better than most of the kids' lives up there. But God doesn't ask for us to show them to be this miracle work in their lives. He asks us to be committed. And I think being committed is just to be their friend and to show them that that maybe they don't have any friends, but we can be their friend. And that's hard because it takes time, right? You need to build trust over time, and I think that's one of the hardest things for us going forward of Club here is that we're good at going up there every Wednesday night and really teaching stories and connecting with the kids there, but it's hard to transfer that out to inviting them over for supper, going and taking them to the park and hanging out, or throwing football with them or something. But I really want prayer in that area, I say, for our staff and for different people to join that cause. So the other thing I wanted to mention was that let me see here, that Cornerstone Chapel has really, I wanted to make mention that Cornerstone Chapel has been doing such a great job. It feels really nice to have a church there. Every time we go there, we're kind of using the church, right? It's the church's building, but it's really, really been a blessing that there's people there. There's Lloyd as the head pastor there, that to send somebody that has problems too, or whatever. It's just been a nice comfort from the committee and the people running Club to be able to have this church as a backing. So the other thing I wanted to mention too is if people here would want to be involved in some kind of way, and you didn't think you could commit to coming every Wednesday night, we do have a Big Brother Big Sister program as well. That's just like it sounds, where we ask for somebody to spend time with somebody, one person from Club, one child from Club. There's no shortage of kids that want to be a little brother, little sister. There is. Every kid at Club, if you ask them, would want a big brother or big sister. We do. We ask them. They all want one. Somebody to just, oh, you mean somebody to take me out for ice cream? Of course. I mean, it's always a yes. And so it's just been, we just need more volunteers for that. And it's been a really awesome program. So if you'd be interested in helping out the Club, but you could only maybe do something once a month, come talk to me. And there's this great opportunity. It seems like every time somebody gets a kid to their house, and so it's driving up to Elkhart, driving all the way back, and all that, but it's incredible. Those kids, that's like the best thing that happened to them that whole year, and they remember that. And the country, living in the actual country, that's unheard of, it's scary, and terrifying to be in the country, but they love it, and it's just, I really, and even if none of you can be part of the Big Brothers Big Sister program, just praying for that program. We feel like that's the number one thing that will save souls for eternity, is to connect with these kids on a one-on-one basis, and we feel like Club is just a good avenue for that. It's a good avenue to get connected. So one thing that I also wanted to mention was there's been a few deaths in the community with actual children, not that have gone to club. There's one that went to club that died. It was an 8-year-old, but it was an accidental thing in a fire, and that was really, really tough. A lot of the kids at club knew him very well, and just a sad deal where the kid couldn't get out of the. This just happened this last year. Couldn't get out of the building in time. There's also another kid that was really, really good friends with a lot of people at club, but he didn't come to club himself. But that got shot. He was 13 years old, and he was hanging out with some friends, and a couple. They had a gun. They were playing with it, and then one of them threatened the other one, and it was just that quick. And it wasn't an accident, but it was very avoidable and a bad deal. And a couple 13-year-old kids, I think the one was 14, and somebody ends up dead. And a lot of the kids that came to club were like brother and sister, close relationship with this kid. That's very tough to talk about with children up there, and it impacted club in a big way. And the guy's name his name was Moody. And anyway, but it's just. We feel like that's very tough stuff to talk to. How do you talk to somebody about? Yeah, I'm sorry, your one of your best friends got shot with a gun. Do you know anybody that got shot? And it's difficult. So, and I'll leave the last thing here with prayer is that prayer is the most important thing to all of club working. We have prayer walkers every Wednesday night. If you'd ever want to be a prayer walker just one time and walk around the building and around the classrooms and pray for the kids and the staff, that's a great way just to see what's going on up there. I'm sure you'll have a good time and get to see and interact with children. But we need that. But also, when you guys meet here on Wednesday nights to pray for club, we would appreciate that so much. It's the most important thing. There's a couple times that we've not had prayer walkers up at club, and undoubtedly it's an incredible difference. Like something goes bad, some two kids get in a fight or something, and the whole night is just pretty horrific, and then all of a sudden we find out that the people that were going to prayer walk for us didn't show up because they were confused with the dates or something, and we just that's really how powerful the prayer is. So I put that out to you guys to pray for us, and we really, really need that. Moving up to this next year, we're expecting about in the neighborhood of 100 to 120 kids on average. There are more kids that want to come, but we don't have enough teachers and enough classrooms set up. We have enough space, but we don't have enough classrooms set up for those kids. But I think at full capacity, we could probably be around maybe 150. But we're kind of keeping it at a lower amount because most of the kids are all the same age that want to come. It's about 7 to 11 years old, so we have way more classes in the younger age than we do for the older kids. But it's just I really want to put a thing out there to you guys but to pray for us. We need it. We really need a prayer. You can meet here Wednesday nights. Just pray for us. We need it, and we'll be operating at the same time you guys are here praying. It's very, very important. And we're very excited about this next year. Amanda and I don't really know what we're doing, stepping into this director role, and it's kind of scary. You could pray for us as well, but we're very, very excited about it. And God's moving up there, and we're just completely pumped about it. And we just want to make sure that we're committed to God and that we can do what His will requires. So that's all I have, Leon, and I just thank you guys for letting me talk about this, and yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle. Do you mind doing a question and answer?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was going to put Q&A here on the end, but yes, definitely. I was hoping if you guys had any questions, yeah. Yeah. Great question. I thought I had that written down, but I don't see it here. So I think most of you be familiar with the Abeka flashcards that have like a picture on the front and then words on the back that you would read to like a classroom. You guys familiar with that? I don't know if, yeah, anyway. We've been using that for most classes have been using that for a long time. It's great. It's a great resource. But we really thought that it'd be advantageous for all the children to be studying the same thing in a certain night. So it was usually just each teacher's kind of on their own, and you talk about whatever you want to talk about that night, and that works too. But the need for a curriculum came up, and we decided to get a committee around to write a curriculum, and Jeff and Louisa Miller, they've headed that up, and there's about 8 other people involved with it as well, and they are organizing and creating a curriculum, and it's going to be a 3-year cyclical program, but they had the first year prepared for this year. And it's going to be a really, really nice resource for that. They're all ready to go. I know that they're working like long hours to try to get this stuff done, but they have an outline lesson for every night, and then basically they wanted something that would be general enough that you could teach it to a 13-year-old and a 5-year-old at the same time, if that makes sense, and not so specific that we're just reading off the back of one of these flashcards and it might make sense to that 10-year-old, but not to the 5-year-old or the 14-year-old. He's kind of bored, you know. So we're very excited about that, and they don't have the years 2 and 3 written yet, but they're working on that as well. But the goal is to, if we go through this 3-year program and then cycle back around, that they would learn every kid that was there for those 3 years would learn almost. For sure would learn all the main Bible stories. The plan of salvation would be talked about at least, I think, 4 or 5 times per year, that it would be brought to the forefront. And so, and that was an issue too, that it wasn't, you were just telling stories, and then when do you actually explaining the plan of salvation. So, but yes, we're very excited about that, and hopefully some kind of tool that we can give to other ministries in the area as well. Or, you know, there's a lot of clubs out on the East Coast and Pennsylvania as well that would be, we might be sending this packet or whatever to them as well. So yeah, we're very excited about that. Good question, Steph. Anybody else?
Do you have any of the parents participating, of the children's parents, coming to church Sundays, or how is that?
Yes, there's a few of them that come to church on Sundays. It's sporadic. I don't think there's any committed people that are coming every time. There's a few children that come every time to Cornerstone Chapel, and they're very regular. And that's actually kind of a thing as well that Cornerstone Chapel is dealing with is how do you do membership or that kind of thing. Somebody's coming every Sunday, but they have pretty different beliefs than us. I mean, a lot of people up there be very pro-abortion and you know, would be just have lots of things that aren't going to line up with God's word, obviously, and expressing that to them. They come to church every Sunday, they hear what we're preaching and all that, but it's not always, you know, it's things we have to talk about and make hard lines and that kind of thing. But yes, no, there are not that many parents. They come sporadically, but not any committed ones as of now at Cornerstone Chapel. But Cornerstone Chapel's been going full-fledged for about 1.5 years, 2 years. It's not been. It's been kind of off and on and meeting in houses and different things like that. Now that the building is going, we hope to push that more. But yeah, that's where that's at now. Wade? Sorry, no, it's just during the school year. Yep, just during the school year. So it is most of the year, but when it just starts and stops as school goes. We have a VBS, Vacation Bible School, at the end of the year. So for the finale of the year in May or early June, we will have a 5-day VBS. But every other time it's on Wednesday nights throughout the rest of the year, except for the summer. But yeah, and we do a lot of special nights as well. Didn't really run through those, but we do a lot of different things where we'll have a carnival night, or we're going to go to an ice skating rink or something like that, and we haul everybody over to somewhere and kind of make a big deal of it and make sure people don't want to miss that out on that, and do a lot of those nights as well.
But the church is open year-round.
Yes, the church is full time, and Cornerstone Chapel is completely independent, really, from Sandy Ridge. I think we do our offerings through the same financial thing, but besides that, it's completely separate. We have pastors that preach up there, but it's actually kind of getting less and less. It's mostly just people up there. So, but yeah, we definitely take turns preaching up there. But then Lloyd and several of the elders there are also having messages. But yes.
So do you have a number of families that are living up there?
Yes.
Moved into the community?
Yes, they have actually moved up there. Sorry, I wasn't very clear about that. So, excuse me, my throat's dry. There are, I want to say, 6 families that live up there right now. There is, I mentioned them, Lloyd and Bev, Jeff and Louisa, which would be Arlen and I can't think of his wife's name, Arlen's kid, and Becky, thank you, Arlen Becky's kid, and Reuben and Carmen, Larry Hostetler's kid is up there. Brad Mass, which is Lloyd and Bev's. Can't think of the other. Justin and Laura Zimmerman, Mark Zimmerman's son. And so it turns out to be a pretty decent amount of people up there, and they have there's a lot of children there too, and stuff like that, so that's nice. But then I would say on an average Sunday, there's between 5 to 10 people, non-Mennonite people that are there attending. A lot of them are kids, and that go to club. So, Kendrick?
Not really a question, but just to kind of expand on what you're saying about sometimes you get discouraged or what you're actually accomplishing. I think as conservative people, we struggle with that thing of their culture is so much different than ours. How do you we like to make people fit into the mold that we're used to. And so it's a real struggle to figure out how that looks when you're dealing with people that are really different culture, and they very well may never come around to doing things like we do, and figuring out how to navigate that maze of what are okay differences and what are things that are non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a struggle, and I think a lot of people have given up because they don't know how to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a struggle, but I think it's a necessary struggle because you're never going to, if the supposed success of your ministry is contingent on making people fit into the Mennonite mold, you probably won't ever accomplish
Mm-hmm.
anything. It kind of goes back to just being willing to get your hands dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Things most likely won't turn out how you would like them to turn out, but the important part is just to try.
Mm-hmm. It's a great point, Kendrick. I often bring up the story of I don't know how many of you guys know Verlin Schrock. He lives up in Middlebury, goes to Sandy Ridge, but he's an ex-Amish guy. He would have been Amish probably until he was 35, something like that. And he helps out at club, has been there for a long time. And I've always thought, well, he's not up to speed with things and whatever. What kid wants to talk to this guy that's very pretty Amish and it's just gonna be hard to relate to him, whatever. It's completely the opposite. I mean, I've heard stories from kids over and over and over again. He's a bus driver, so he drives around with them and talks to them, asks them how their day went, and this and that. They just rant and rave about Verlin. He's just amazing, because he's their friend. Because he talks to me, asks them how they are. He cares about them. And so that, like took what Kendrick said, the fitting the Mennonite mold or putting them into a box, that's not our goal at all. Our goal is to show them plan of salvation, show them that Jesus loves them, show them that we love them. And when we present that, we want to have the option for them to go to Cornerstone Chapel and disciple them, but also have the option that they could just go on their own and go to, a Baptist church up in Elkhart or something like that. Our goal is to pull them away from the situation they're in, which are often just pretty bad. Anybody else? It is. We're kind of phasing that out. It is happening right now, but there's not that many. So weirdly enough, most of the kids want to just go to Cornerstone Chapel. So a lot of them will just go directly to Cornerstone Chapel. There's some that do want to come to Sandy Ridge every once in a while, so they get picked up with a van and get taken, and it's just every other Sunday to Sandy Ridge or to Cornerstone. But the goal is to definitely have them go to all the Cornerstone Chapel. When I say that, also that we don't want to have 15 kids up there that 10 adults are just trying to kind of babysit either on Sundays. So we're kind of aware of that. But yeah, it used to be more of a thing when there was no option for them to go to church up there. But.
How do you find the children or get the children to come? How do you make that contact?
Great question. So it's basically just all word of mouth. I mean, there's. So if I went back to that one slide, let me see all the way back here. There's so many. Zoom out view here. There. Okay. So there's so many places that people just know it's their cousin or their nephew or whatever that they know, and they tell them, yeah, you should come to the club. It's all word of mouth. We don't canvass at all or anything like that. It's just somebody knew the one thing, and then they knew that guy, and then they would come and ask to be part of club or send their kids to club. But it's one of the biggest places. I can't point to it exactly because I'm not good with out the streets there, but I think it's about right in this place right here. It's called the Gardens, and it's the projects. So Washington Gardens projects is about right here, and I would say half of all of our kids. So club's right here, and half of all the kids come from right here. We show up with a busload, and there's just lines of kids that run in, and probably 35, 40 kids jump into the bus at one shot, right at the same place, and they just all live in the projects there. And yeah, it's definitely the roughest kids live there, but it's just a word of mouth thing, really. It honestly is. Yeah.
Just for reference, that'd be right close to Faith Mission, right?
Yes. Yeah. Very close. Well, it's up north a little bit. Faith Mission's about right there, I think, somewhere in there, right?
I might be thinking of a different place too.
Yeah, it is really close. Faith Mission, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is about right there, and the Gardens are down here, so it's just down the road there. But, yeah. Anybody else? Well, thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure being here and showing you guys a little bit of what we do up there. Please come visit. People ask me sometimes, is it appropriate for me to come up there and see what you guys go? Oh, my word, yeah. We love to have you come up there. You don't have to be doing anything or helping out at any capacity. You just want to see what's going on. People ask me that. We would love it. Love if you came up. It starts at 5:45 and ends at about 7:15. And if you ever want to see what's going on up there, please do. We'd love to have you come up there. And it's easy, even if you want to jump into a class and just help take care of kids and stuff like that for a little bit. It's really easy to do. Lots of visitors. We have visitors that just stop in, and yeah, we'd love that. So. Turn over the time to Leon.